Hey guys, Mr. Otto10 here, bringing you guys some exciting news. Now, if you haven't already read about the title, this is going to be a Killzone Mercenary patch 1.11 analysis. Now, I did some testing over here, and as you guys all know, I do this every time a patch comes out for Killzone Mercenary. Now, what the patch contained, or what the least told you, was that they are just making this compatible with the PlayStation Vita TV, and they are also adding checkpoints, which a whole year later, I think that's a bit late, adding checkpoint saves into the game. Now, the other things they also did was they added this green background text to everybody's name inside the lobby, which I thought that was all they did. The thing is, I didn't actually play Killzone until I think about a week ago, and yeah, I have been basically testing it with some of my friends, and there are some very, very surprising results that have got me pretty happy, but also upset because they still have yet to fix any of the glaring issues that have been present in Killzone Mercenary since within the first month that it released. Now, just to talk about what the things that they did do in Killzone Mercenary, I did make a list. Proximity mines, basically their explosive radius has been reduced by about 3 or 4 meters. Previously, proximity mines would blow up around 12 meters. They have been reduced to 8 meters with still having a trigger radius of 5 meters. Basically, that actually allows people to actually get away from proximity mines by making a complete U-turn once you hear it. Because beforehand, the explosive radius was 12 meters and its trigger radius was 5 meters. That means by the time you heard it, there's no possible way for you to actually get away from it and survive, because its kill radius is still 5 meters. So basically what that means is now if you hear a proximity mine, you will actually be able to escape it, which is one of my biggest gripes, is that the proximity mine was so overpowered. It basically had the same explosive radius as the frag grenade that you get. The thing about it is that it can also stick to people, so there was no possible way for you to honestly get away from it, because as soon as you heard it, there was no way you can run the 6 or 7 meters needed to get away from it and not be either injured or killed. Ballistics time to kill has been slightly reduced when aiming for the upper chest. Now, when aiming for the legs, it still does the whole 6 shots to kill or 6 shots to actually down them, but now, at least in the chest, it's actually been reduced to 5 shots, which is still, in my opinion, anything that actually gives players the ability to survive longer while taking shots is just blatantly overpowered and should not exist in any form of FPS, because the whole community is going to gravitate towards it. It is a fact, it's a fact that if something is blatantly stronger than every other thing, then a community is going to gravitate towards it. But reducing the amount of shots that it does take to kill it in the upper chest area is a step forward in the whole community cry, telling it that the armor is basically overpowered, and been doing it for a year. But the slight nerf, I think, is better, but I don't think it's still enough to warrant people to not wear this thing. And in my opinion, if they had just basically made it so this armor you couldn't get one-shot headshots anymore, then that would have been better, instead of just saying, oh yeah, we're just going to add extra protection. Because the ballistics doesn't just protect you from bullets, it protects you from fall damage, it protects you from explosive damage to some extent. And the fact that it makes you slower is not a real problem, because it barely makes you slower in comparison to every other armor. And not only that, but the sheer fact that basically you can turn as fast, move as almost as fast, and do pretty much everything else that every other armor does, doesn't make it a really good trade-off. It has too many things making it strong. The STA-52SE 3-shot kills has been 3-shot kill range has been reduced from 18 meters to around 14 to 15 meters, which means the M82 is actually going to have a fighting chance within middle range. Now, this gun, I used to love the crap out of it and play with it all the time, but the matter is, it is majorly overpowered. It shoots at around 900 rounds per minute, kills you in 3 shots to kill, and with the god-awful netcode of the game, you will instantly die almost every time you're facing somebody using this gun. It is just blatantly overpowered, and I think that its actual shots to kill with an up close should be around 5. In every other Killzone game, this gun was a long-range gun. It's always been a long-range gun, and I don't know why they decided to make the gun close range. I think that keeping it as a long-range gun. I mean, this variant of the gun should be a long-range gun, and they should reduce its 3-shot kills to 5 or 4 shots to kill up close, and make its minimum damage 6 shots to kill. And we're going off just basically combat armor and supply armor damage here, because they are the most basic armors to which most people wear, and that most big damage, 100% damage, and 100% health and everything. Now, the broken placement of the auto aim, which I talked about I think a couple patches ago, where basically the auto aim was actually in front of the torso rather than being on the character model itself, has been fixed. Therefore, you will not be getting that weird thing where you aim through, you can auto aim lock through walls, which tend to happen every so often when you're either playing in bots or in multiplayer. It happened more in bots than it did in multiplayer, because bots have a stronger auto aim than people in multiplayer do. But nevertheless, that weird glitch was fixed. I don't know how that happened, but I'm glad to see they're taking notice, and they did fix that. Two other things that are actually kind of suspected is that they may have slightly increased the field of view of the game to help with PlayStation Vita TV users. And the thing about it is that there's a picture I'm going to show on screen. Every time an explosion goes off, that the gun itself would slightly shake, but the thing about it is that it would never show this much of the gun. I basically see all the way down to the bottom of the stock, which is the part that rests on the shoulder of the character model, which is a huge part, like, for them to actually increase the FOV. Now, this has happened to me before, but only when just massive explosions were going on. But the only thing that happened in this particular clip was that a grenade went off, just 1 or 2 grenades, and I can see that whole stock. Now, this is not confirmed. This is completely suspected. Really hard to confirm it, because there's 2 types of field of view. There's a field of view on the gun model and the character itself, and there's a field of view of the game in which you see everything else. So those 2 things are kind of hard to determine. Now, this is also suspected, but a lot of players have been saying that this has happened, that they've actually kind of smoothed out the animations for every single character. You moving side to side, every single character moving side to side. It's really easy to transition from target to target now, because the animations have been really smooth. I mean, beforehand, when the character was moving side to side, it had this kind of jittery, almost seizure-like effect to them, and I don't know how that was going on, but it made it really hard to follow your targets going side to side. And even with yourself, when you were moving side to side, it made you look kind of jittery. It seems like they may have smoothed that out a bit, which is nice to say the least. Now, like I said, even though they did some things with the patch that we have been crying about for the longest, they still have yet to fix some of the glaring issues. Like, for one thing, the spawns are still god awful. If anything, they've gotten even worse, and I don't know how, or I don't know what it takes to fix a spawn system, or if they have to completely redo it, but it seems like for some unexplainable reason they cannot detect or differentiate enemy from friendly, and no matter what, an enemy will probably end up spawning 2 feet in front of you or 2 feet behind you. And this always happens, and not to mention the fact that there is spawn protection. So if they spawn in, and even if you start shooting first at some points in time, they can still kill you, which is hugely upsetting to me. Like, I don't know how the spawn system can be so bad. These maps, every single Killzone map is big within respect to any other Vita game that's been out there. They are humongous. Okay, they span some 100 meters, even plus that in some of the maps, like Blood Grotch or Inlet. So I don't know how they haven't figured out a way to basically set the spawns in an area to which enemies don't spawn 2 feet in front of the other players. But until they do, that is going to be a huge problem for Killzone Mercenary, and it's very detracting from the multiplayer. Not only that, but like I said, the netcode in this game is still god awful. Now, I made this little post on the forum saying that they can never fix or completely fix the netcode, because basically they don't own the servers anymore. The reason why I praised the beta so much, even though it had terrible problems, like it was completely imbalanced, ballistics was extremely overpowered, proxy mines had like 15-meter explosive radius and kill radius, it still had one thing that made it amazing, which was its amazing multiplayer netcode. I mean, you could feel every single shot as it landed on your body. At least not feel it, but you heard it. The instance in which you would instantly die would only happen when you were extremely up close, which makes sense because most times you cannot you would instantly die. I mean, it happens in bots as well. They instantly kill you because basically there is no netcode issues in bots. So basically when you get shot, if they put 3 shots into you with a high rate of fire gun, you're probably going to instantly die. But over middle to long distances, the instance of which you instantly die or you take no damage for some reason and you just flop over didn't happen. In the in the vanilla game, it happens all the time, which is extremely upsetting. And like I said, they don't own the servers anymore. They handed the servers off. They're using PlayStation servers, and we all know how bad PlayStation Network servers are. Everybody knows how bad PlayStation Network servers are. These are like some of the worst servers in any of the 3 major companies that go against each other. And I don't know what they're doing with our PlayStation Plus money, but they obviously aren't using it for the right purposes. And the netcode is still god awful. The spawns are still god awful. There's still some balance issues they have to fix, like the VC39, the M80, the LS57. Those are all 3 extremely, blatantly overpowered. But the things that they did fix do help balance it out and make the game fun again. It did feel complete. Like, I didn't play Killzone Mercenary because I've been playing Minecraft for so long. It made the game feel like it was almost completely new. When I came back on, I tweeted developer like right after playing one match, asking them what they did because it didn't feel the same. It felt smoother. The experience felt way better, but the problems are still there. Now, every so often, yeah, I do get into a match that there is little to no lag, and ballistics isn't extremely overpowered because I said they reduced the health. And because they reduced the health, you know, lag plus ballistics kind of makes this huge problem. But if there is no lag, ballistics is not even a slight issue. That it's very fun. But until they fix those issues, I'm still gonna keep disliking the thing about it, and I'm still gonna keep talking about it. I mean, the game is already a year old. This is probably one of the most supported video games that I know of so far in terms of AAA games. Next to Little Big Planet, I don't know any other games that's still getting a patch, a year after it's been released. So I really do thank the devs that they're listening to the community and they're listening to our problems. But until you fix those problems listed, the game is still gonna have this shadow of an issue on it. But that's all I want to talk about today. Thank you guys for listening. It's Mr. Rod. I hope you guys enjoyed this commentary and my findings and the nerfs that they did. If you haven't played Killzone Mercenary in a while, go test it out now. I guarantee you will be pleasantly surprised. So, like I said, thank you for listening. Thank you guys for watching, and I'm out. Peace.